Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
Hey, fresh air with Khalid Hussein.
Fresh air.
Yeah, how's it going, Khalid?
It's going great. I feel like the summer heat out here in LA is finally starting to break. We've had like 2 breezy-ish overcast days, which have been so nice because I work outside a few times a week.
That's right. Yeah, outside working is fun, huh?
It's so fun. Yeah. I mean, I'm just on set, so like I'm not like toiling, like I feel like the implication is I'm toiling when I say that, but like still, it's just pure unadulterated, just hot ass sun, just getting your boy. And I don't care for it, and I deserve better. I'll say it.
Would you say you're toiling?
I would say I'm toiling. Actually, I retract my previous statement. I am toiling. I meant to make it seem like I'm toiling. It's a toil.
Yeah. And that's your toiling with Khalid segment, everybody.
Yeah. Joe, what about you? What are you toiling with?
I'm just doing fine. I'm doing good. I'm having a nice week over here. We just went to the state fair up in Minnesota. That's a big one. That was fun.
Did you see T-Pain and Ludacris?
I saw that they were there. So, like, their names were on a wall somewhere. So,
cool. Did you see Guy Fieri?
Nope.
What do you even do at the fair?
I just bask in the fairness of it all.
Yeah, that's the opposite of toiling. You bask, I toil.
Yeah, that's true.
What'd you do?
On that note, what?
What'd you do?
My thing, I always like to try. All the various breweries around like to put out unique and strange out of the box kind of beers, like a mustard beer or a pancake beer, and I always like make a map where I try to find where those are being served and try those out. And we try out some of the weird new foods and stuff that are always kind of interesting too. So that's kind of one of our things. And then we bring the kids one of the days just to let them check it out, try out some things they like. They like the mini donuts, of course, and the cookies. But my daughter's into the rides too, so that's cool.
I think it'd be really funny if you like didn't even care that like T-Pain was there, but he's also super obsessed with like these like niche beers.
And we ran into each other that way?
You just keep like bumping into him because you have like accidentally created the same like beer scavenger hunt.
It's very possible that we did. Maybe I didn't know it was T-Pain the whole time.
Would you not know who T-Pain was on site?
Well, maybe he's on undercover, like when he's like in the crowd.
That's true. He wouldn't want to like rile up all the hardcore T-Pain fans.
True. Yeah, there are a lot of them. So
yeah.
Anyway, on that note, I am really excited. I want to bring in our guest here, but I just want to first shout out that we are continuing along with our KAIJUBILEE series here, which is a celebration of one of cinema's greatest giant monsters, Godzilla, for his 70th anniversary. Happy birthday, Godzilla.
Celebrate Godzilla. Come on.
With that, we have a lot of special guests joining us along the way, and one of our good buddies, our good friend, Joel H. Brewster, creator of West Coast Strange, writer, filmmaker, and horror enthusiast, it will be joining us today. Joel, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. It is always a pleasure to be back and talk to you guys. So thank you so much for inviting me.
We are so happy to have you. You're like one of our favorite guests to always have on. You have like your horror well knowledge is deep, and we're excited to hear you talk some Godzilla today.
I'm very excited to talk some Godzilla. I don't ever really get the chance to, so I was excited to dive into this, and I can't wait to share some Godzilla hot takes.
Hell yeah. For our listeners who might be fans of yours, Joel, I remember a couple months ago, you mentioned that your No Stranger to Horror podcast was coming to an end. Do you have any other interesting creative endeavors you wanted to like shout out or tell anybody to look out for?
Yeah, I do. I have a feature film that is going to be coming on to Amazon next couple months, which I'm pretty excited about. And then It's not horror, though. It's drama. So, and on top of that, I was a production company in Toronto. I have a shopping agreement with them on 2 of my horror feature films. So that's been really exciting.
What? Yeah. Look at that.
Congrats.
So I'm happy to announce when those are more solidified, then I would love to talk about those 2 more. But yeah, I'm excited about all that stuff coming up.
Lots of fun stuff on the horizon. Can you tell us the name of the movie on Amazon?
Yeah, it's called Leitbrouck. Gloves of
Dilrock.
Kin. Yeah, I was a co-writer on that project, and it's about a father that tries to reconnect with his son after being in prison for 20 years, and they reconnect through
Wow.
boxing.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really
Well,
excited.
I'm
I wrote that
intrigued.
project quite a while ago, but yeah, it's finished. It had a festival run, and yeah, it's on its way.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you so much. Yeah,
man,
pretty
you're gonna
excited
be
about
too
it.
famous for our podcast soon, man.
Hey, you guys are my first interview. I think about it all the time that I'm like, this is my first interview for anything. So yeah,
Hey, we get the exclusive.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Come on our show to announce your big moves here.
Yes, that's like honestly my dream. And I think I mentioned that like forever ago, but that's like honestly been my dream. I think about that. So yeah.
Yes.
Mighty nice coattails you
Yeah.
got there. Any room for two?
Always.
Thank you, sir. No, but seriously, so it's such great news. I know you've been like just at the writing game for a while. I've been lucky enough to see some of your writing, and you're killing it, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys both so much.
Hell yeah.
So, for the purposes of this episode, Joel, can you tell us a little bit about your background as a Godzilla fan and your background with the franchise?
I was recently talking about this with a friend of mine. You can never really mess up with this can be a little gendered, but you can never really mess up with putting big monsters and having them fight and having like guys just love it. And I've always been like that too. And it's just an easy sell that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's people of all genders that love Godzilla, but yeah, it's just one of those easy sells to me. It's like just a big monster fight and I love it. And I will definitely get into more of the hot takes later about this movie specifically, but I just found it really fun. And I think the concept of Godzilla is just always really fun. And the mythos and just how you just have to really immerse yourselves in some of the campiness of it. No matter how they do it, the campiness of it is always really fun to watch too. So yeah, always been a Godzilla big animal. You know, it's funny too. My mom is a huge Godzilla fan too. I think she's seen all
Hmm.
the Godzilla and King Kong movies. Yeah, so
Wow. So, what do you remember what your first Godzilla movie was?
I think my first Godzilla movie, and this is is that the 2001. Is that the one that with his
Broderick.
name's yeah, yeah, Matthew. I was gonna say John Cusack. That's not it though. It was Matthew Broderick,
Matthew
right?
Broderick.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
American
that
one.
one, the
Yeah.
American one. Yeah, which isn't the finest way to get into Godzilla. And it's funny when I think back to that movie too. The first thing that pops into my head is obviously the canceled artist P Diddy, his music video where he's standing on the building with the jacket. Do you guys remember that music video with for the?
No.
Oh, it has to be watched. It's like a classic video. I remember from back in the day, and him like yelling at Godzilla. There's like a symphony song playing in the background, and him rapping. I can't remember what the song's called, but it is ridiculous, and that's what I remember.
I think it's in the credits, Khalid, if you remember at the end of the movie.
It's definitely the theme to the movie. Yeah, it was definitely in the credits.
I vaguely remember a bad song playing.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say though. Like, I think for a lot of us, like who are our age, like at 1998, I think it came out. We just talked about that one last episode. That was easily like our first exposure. Was like easy for us to like access and see. It was big budget. Like Taco Bell was advertising it, so like that was a lot of our first exposure to Godzilla.
Yeah, and it's a good first one to get into, I guess, if for a North American audience. I mean, it's not as classic or iconic, but yeah, it was fun at the time.
Yeah. So, but that being said, for this episode, we're actually going to move back into the Toho Japanese Godzillas. Before we do that, Khalid, though, I got a question for you.
What?
What is Godzilla's favorite vegetable?
You said that like you were like genuinely curious. Like this isn't even a riddle or a joke or something. Like
Maybe I am.
You're just asking me like an interview. Like it sounded like Barbara Walters. What is Godzilla's favorite vegetable? Like, Godzilla's favorite vegetable is squash.
Yep. Yeah, squash. Good job. Because he squashes things.
Yeah. No, the trick to answering your questions is to like think really hard for a second and then go, "Oh wait, this is stupid," and don't think at all.
I
So
wouldn't have gotten it, so great.
conversely, Khalid, what's Godzilla's favorite sport?
Is it also squash?
It is also squash, Khalid. You got
it. That's funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, there we go. And that's a segue, Khalid. What are we talking about? Can you give us a nice synopsis that's not literally a million years long this time?
No, absolutely not.
I will
I've
cut it
got
this time.
I've
I'm
gotten
gonna
a
cut it.
taste for agonizingly long synopses. Like that's the podcast now. You could end the podcast after it. That works.
That's the end of Frankenstein's podcast, y'all.
Okay. I have a synopsis from our homeboy Wikizilla, and it goes a little something like this. Today, we're talking about the 2002 Toho era Godzilla film, Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla, and I've got a synopsis that goes a little something like this. Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla is a yet another reboot to the Godzilla continuity. Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla reintroduces Godzilla's popular foe Mechagodzilla for the Millennium series. When a second Godzilla attacks Japan in 1999, the Japanese government dredges up the bones of the first Godzilla from 1954 and uses them to construct an anti-Godzilla weapon codenamed Kiryu. Kiryu is completed in 2003 when Godzilla returns to menace Yokohama. Kiryu is sent to combat Godzilla, but the monster's roar awakens the first Godzilla's soul within the cyborg, causing Kiryu to go berserk. Kiryu's lead scientist, Tokumitsu Uehara, races to rectify this error in the cyborg before Godzilla makes landfall again. But even if Kiryu is fixed, the question remains if the government would willingly launch it again.
What a monster!
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Okay. That was decently paced, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a middle ground between like Google's AI synopses and like Wikipedia's like tomes.
Tomes. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's a good summary of everything that's going on. So just a little background before we dig into some thoughts. This movie is the fourth film in the Millennium era. So we've covered the Showa, the Heisei era. I almost want to say Heisei era. A little bit of the American so far. Now we're in the Millennium era. And the Millennium era began in 1999 with Godzilla 2000. And it runs through a little bit of the 2000s, actually. This series is kind of treated like an anthology where each film in this era is a standalone story serving as a direct sequel to the 1954 film. So none of the other Millennium era films reference the other ones, except for this one has one direct sequel called Godzilla Tokyo SOS, which is a direct follow-up to this one. And so these are the only two during this era that were connected. All the other ones share no continuity. This movie, though, while being a direct sequel to the 1954 one, does connect, as we saw in some flashbacks, to the 1961 Mothra movie and a couple other like Toho like kaiju flicks that were non-Godzilla at the time. So anyway, that's kind of some interesting background into this kind of era and like where this kind of came about. But that being said, what did you guys think of Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla? Joel, why don't you start?
Even with that actually added background, all I was just thinking about there was the mythology of it all is really cool. Like, I think like it just adds to itself that this is like such an interesting lore to dive into. I found this one to be a lot of fun for the sheer fact of the focus was a lot on like friendship and working together. So there was like a lot of like teamwork, like moments like that. And I thought that was really fun. I have one quote here that I was saving for later, but I'm going to say it now. It wasn't about fighting Godzilla. It was about the friends we made along the way. Because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that concept of it. And it just, and it's funny too, when Cleve was reading the synopsis of it, it's funny how bonkers that sounds, but they grounded it in a way that it was campy, but it's still, when you hear the synopsis like that, like, yeah, that was a lot of crazy shit that happened in one film. But like, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting the way they did it.
How about you, Khalid?
Yeah, all great points. I agree with a lot of what Joel was saying. Also looking at my notes, one of the alt titles I had for this movie was Top Gunzilla.
Is that a thing you're doing now? I
If
like
it
it.
comes
Good,
to
I'll
me,
tell you
I don't know. Literally at one point I was like admittedly stoned, but like I was like watching it and I was just like, this is Top Gun. This is just this scene is very Top Gun. um no, yeah, this movie was fun. It's definitely like the most military oriented one we've seen. Like literally there have been times in other Godzilla movies where I'm like, oh man, is this just about to be like there's like 45 minutes left. Is it just going to be fights and stuff? And then it goes like on like crazy genre side quests and stuff like that. And you get like the inner politics of like a moon base or something. And with this one, no, it's just 45 minutes of fighting. Like you pause it to see the runtime and you're like, oh, they're just going to duke it out for the rest of the movie. Which, you know, fair. Like it's giving the people what they want to a degree. Like Joel was saying, like sometimes you just want to tap into that like inner like kind of combative animalistic thing of just seeing like two big fuckers fight. But I don't know. Like, I'm still sitting with it. I watched it last night, and I'm still sitting with how I feel about it overall. Just because, like, I've mentioned it on the pod before, but like, whenever the military stuff happens, it's usually when I kind of check out because, like, the other Godzilla movies treat it more as like a kind of like just like a necessary step. Like, oh, there's a big lizard attacking, or there's a big monster attacking, you would send the only weapons you have, which is going to be the military. But with this, it's all about like literally since the first Godzilla, like they created an entire like military branch and like dedicated all these resources. And there are people like several generations later who are just like have made it their life's purpose to take down Godzilla, and they do it in the coolest way possible. Like, let's be real. Like, the oxygen destroyer is a conceptually scary thing, but it is still also just like we're gonna science him to death. This is what you want when you start like bringing the brightest minds together. You want them all. You want the smartest people in the world to get together and go, "What if it was him, but metal?" So I respect it. I fully follow that train of thought. Makes sense on that level. I also find it interesting that we watched the Roland Emmerich one, and this one feels more like Independence Day to me than that. You know, so that's just something to think about. You're welcome. And yeah, those are my initial thoughts. How about you, Joe? What about you? What'd you think?
I'm on the same kind of boat as you guys. I was noticing like this is the most like military-ish one that we've watched. I'm not sure it's to say it's of the Godzillas, but like following the military so closely. But that being said, I think that the plot that they told with it was interesting. I liked the main character, the girl we're following through it. I think she was kind of an interesting. I liked how we got like montages of her like running and working out. Like they're making it into a Rocky story, and like working out's going to really help with the fight. I don't know.
That was so adorable. She was doing pull-ups and stuff, and I was like,
right?
for who? And
Yeah,
it
what's
kind
this
of
for?
makes sense because like her job is to basically like use like a building sized machine to
Mhm.
fight. So like obviously if it starts breaking down and shit, like you're probably gonna fall and like have to catch yourself and like do shit. So that
Well, she does have to. Yeah, she has to run through rubble and stuff like,
yeah.
and do like things in the thick of combat in a sense. Like it's sort of like build as she's kind of in the background controlling it, but she has to do
Yeah,
more.
and-
So it pays off. Yeah.
That's insane though. That suit. I mean, I get it in like Pacific Rim and shit like that, where it's like you're like, oh yeah, we share like a mind and stuff like that. But like these things, there should just be like a staff of people running up and down the body. I don't understand why we put all that
Like
pressure
one
on like
person?
one person in a very out of the way spot. What if you step on something? Your toes fucked up. You got to run all the way downstairs now. God forbid you put an elevator in there.
I found her like fascinating to watch. I would have watched her in a non-Godzilla movie, just kind of like fighting against another thing. But her story was like really interesting for me. At least I thought like it was very much, especially because she came as an outcast too, and living with the guilt. I thought that was really fascinating too. Those two parts like really interested me.
I agree with you, Joel. I think that she was interesting. I mean, I think like the mech suit element of it was pretty cool because I know, like, and we'll get into it to get the monster of it. Like, that's a new concept for the Mechagodzilla. Like, it's been a robot or an alien in the past. Like, the fact that it's like a mech suit that somebody is controlling on the in or can control on the inside. They aren't the whole time, but it's like kind of taking from like Gundam or something like that and like bringing that to the Godzilla franchise. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that like the world building of it was really cool too. Um, I really enjoyed the aspect of like Khalid was saying about getting the scientist of like the specialist and how they were just kind of like picked up from where they were to like join this team. And I like the brightest minds kind of attacking like that. It is my dream job now to be specialized in a way that they need me to fight like a fictional style monster like that. I feel like that was really cool, even though there was like business and everything.
It's totally a trope now in every
Yes.
Godzilla. They basically kidnap a scientist. Like when I was watching with Nicole last night, and she was like, "Everyone we've watched, they kidnap a scientist. Like the government, they're just like, we're the government. You got to come with us. Like you got to do science stuff here. Like even Matthew Broderick was a scientist who was kidnapped.
Yeah,
Well, what are they supposed to do? Put out a job posting on monster.com?
I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying it's a fun trope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, no. That being said, I thought that stuff was pretty cool. It was a fun movie overall. I think that ultimately I resonated more with the movies that we watched in that Heisei period. I think that just like era of Godzilla and some of the stuff, the themes that were brought up in that were like more like in line with the stuff that I'm looking for. But I thought this was a really fun adventure movie. I think like the concept's really cool. Like you're saying, like Godzilla but metal, but like using the bones and the fact that like the bones like somehow go crazy hearing the roar, like that was a fun weird idea. The kind of themes of like what's alive, and there are some really interesting, like, you know, the little girl was an interesting character. I think that there was a lot of really fun elements to this that made it a really kind of like unique watch that could have been more boring than it was. Like they brought it to life in a lot of really interesting ways that I thought that was fun. And then like the ending too, like you think it's going to be how we're going to defeat Godzilla, right? But like ultimately they're cheering on a win that's kind of just we made Godzilla like go away for a little bit rather than actually defeating him, you know. And I think that's another interesting piece to kind of chew on at the end there.
Godzilla.
You looked shook though.
Yeah.
Godzilla always I'm not sure how much you guys are into like comic books themselves, but like in like the super like Justice League comic books, there's Darkseid, the villain. Not sure if you guys know who Darkseid is.
Yeah.
But yeah. My favorite thing about Darkseid is when the Justice League fights him, he either gets just beaten up and then thrown into like a portal to send away, or he just kind of leaves. There's never a time where they actually fully beat him, and that's what it felt like with this. Like Godzilla's like got beaten to the point he's like, yeah, I'm gonna walk this one off. I took a loss. And they're like, oh, that's good, we survived. And that's what it reminded me of, like when the Justice League fights Darkseid, and Darkseid just goes like, wow, we barely beat, like scraped our teeth and got out of that one. And I like that aspect of it. It makes him more menacing too.
I agree. I think that they do that pretty well throughout the franchise too, where it's like a win is just like having Godzilla go away for a bit. Yeah. Like the ones where Godzilla actually like dies are like super tragic ones. And it's not that common even, I think.
Well, I think it's like I think it really mimics like what like the feeling of like war is, you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily want to see that somebody like win a war, because then like the fighting stops and like there's like a dead person on the other end. But like you win a battle, you know, especially one where the odds are against you, like a battle, but like the ongoing thing is still happening, you know. I think there's like a little bit of like catharsis to something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all our favorite cartoons did it growing up too. You know, like how much would we be rooting for Ash if he like just murdered Team Rocket after the first episode?
Fair, yeah.
Like he by the end he definitely has an arsenal that he could like murder them with handily.
Yeah.
But even still, like it's all shenanigans, you know? It's like they live to fight another day because when the villain's good, you don't want him to go.
Yeah. You also need to make more movies.
True that. Yeah.
Godzilla being powerful down to the bones is so insane to me, though. Like that was like, oh my god, that is a creature. I don't think I would settle in this movie for just him going away. I'm like, if a Godzilla of that species bones can be activated to go crazy, and that's how deep its like soul connection is to its entire species, like to its like, I don't know, menacing power. I feel like I'm like, oh, we got to really track that thing down. Like even if bones can be activated, that was pretty like strange to me in the
Well,
science.
think about it from his point of view. He was trying to get his lick back because they killed his granddaddy
Yeah.
back in 1954.
Yeah.
Come to find out, they turned his granddaddy's bones into a suit of armor.
Oh yeah, that is pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy.
It's messed up.
Yeah. And your haunting shrills awoke his spirit.
That is well. I didn't see the. Did you guys? I'm not sure if you guys covered the Bigfoot one because they referenced in that.
Oh, the Jolly Green Giant Bigfoot.
Oh,
looking
yeah.
dude?
When they were talking about all the kaiju that have attacked.
I was
in the
like,
past.
hell yeah, bring it on. I love that
I
camera.
want to see that one. I think that's like I feel like I looked it up.
It's just a dude in
yeah.
a suit. Like, I know that's usually a dude in a suit, but that was like the most dude in a suit.
I audibly
that a dude
laughed.
has ever been in a suit.
Yeah, that one was like so casually put in there. It's like Godzilla. I was like, okay, yeah. Mothra. I'm like, okay, cool. I know that. And then like, and this random Bigfoot one. I was like, hold on, go back. What?
I was like, Keith? What are you doing there, Keith? Like he doesn't even have like a Japanese monster name. He's just got like a regular dude name.
Just like I'm like that was the weirdest one of them all. I'm like that was the strangest creature of them all. I'm like Mothra. I'm like okay, it's just I'm like what is that one?
I don't know.
He's the first ever kaiju to be forklift certified.
I'm trying to look it up and I can't figure out what it is. I think it's like
that one felt obscure because I've never seen that one before, and like the rest of them are pretty iconic and like the, you know, like
there's like
even like in the movies, like in the new movies, I've never seen that one referenced before.
There's a couple Toho kaiju movies about they call him Frankenstein, but it's a giant man running like looks like a caveman kind of guy, and so it might be that one. I'm not sure. That's from 1965, or it might be. Yeah, I don't know. It might be that. Might be the giant man.
They need to put that guy in the reboot. That was fun.
Yeah, I want to see him in like the legendary ones, like full CGI like that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys as the only two fathers in this discussion. Where do you stand on the scientist hitting on that lady with his daughter?
I think he was kind of a bad dad. I mean, at parts, like he was.
Was that a bad?
I mean,
dad
I don't
move?
know. Like, I feel like it's a very like late '90s kind of dad move where it's like, I don't know, like almost like Big Daddy-esque, where like the kid kind of helps you get the girl kind of thing. Like it's a weird trope that. That being said, like he just kind of let her like have the run of like this like Mechagodzilla building site. Like she just at one point she just ran away from him in the military compound. He's like, she's upset about something, and I'm like, I don't know if I would let my daughter like run around a military compound like that, like while being like emotionally upset. Like I'd be like, I think I need to check on her. Like he was an absent-minded parent to say the least.
He was an absent-minded dad. He was a bad dad. I thought that one of my favorite parts that reminded me of my own kid was when the daughter came to the military base and was like telling these kids like military secrets about what's going on in the base. I thought that was so funny. And then she salutes like the guard, and the guard's like, "Hey, yeah, go in there." And like and the kids are like so impressed. I'm like, wow, I feel like she's breaking a lot of protocols by everything that just happened in 3 seconds.
Yes,
like there was no oversight on that kid.
That's the precociousness we love.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah. But like, yeah, later on, like she was kind of just sad a lot, which I felt bad for her because I feel like she was easily like top 2 character in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of promise with her and the kids. I was like, oh, that's crazy that none of these movies have like heavily featured like kids doing their own little side plot. And then it never really like came to fruition in that way that I was hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I think like thematically, like her connection with kind of the plant, like being like sort of her like connection to like her mom in a sense was like mirrors like Godzilla's connection with the previous Godzilla's bones a little bit. Like I think there's kind of like some thematic through lines there, which I thought were interesting. Like she was the only one who was really willing to say like this Mechagodzilla is also a living thing, like in a sense. Like so she had some good moments, I would say.
Yeah.
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 I agree with top 2 character in the movie.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the coach that was hitting dingers at a little league game?
I was just gonna bring that up, Khalid. So, do you know who that was?
No.
Joel, do you know?
I did see, but go
It's
ahead.
a trivia piece. So that it's a trivia piece. That guy was Hideki Matsui, a famed Japanese baseball player, member of the New York Yankees from 2003 to 2010, and member of the Los Angeles since 2010. He appears as himself because in Japan, his nickname as a baseball player was Gojira. So
I
they
loved
pulled
that cameo when I read that
that's
piece
cool.
of trivia. I was
Yeah.
like, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a fun cameo.
I thought it was just a really funny idea to just have like a coach that just like won't stop just like knocking balls out the park that kids pitch to him. I thought that was so funny.
I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious, and I thought it was more of a reference to until I read that piece of trivia to Ultraman. Is that the movie with the animated?
Shin
Mhm.
Ultraman.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was a reference to because that guy's a baseball player and like he fights monsters.
Oh,
So I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's a cool reference, and then
Cool
it
nod.
wasn't that at all. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. It was kind of. It's still with what it was kind of a fun. It was a fun little cameo thing there.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about Joel, especially since you brought it up, the hats.
Yes.
Oh,
So
why did they have such cool merch? I was
cool.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Yes. What was the
I wish our military had cooler
Right?
merch.
I looked that up. I was like, I would do anything. I was like, I would sign up to fight Godzilla immediately if I saw that merch on anyone on TV. I'm like, sign me up tomorrow.
That's all you need to advertise
Yeah,
is the
best
cool hat, and we're
It's
in.
the best recruiting tool. Yeah.
What was the military organization called? It was like Japanese Self-Defense Force or something?
Something like that. It had a cool acronym.
Anti-Megalosaurus Force.
Anti-Megalus.
AMF.
AMF. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. Godzilla. Yeah.
But I feel like the acronyms are weird because of Japanese characters and stuff.
Yeah, right. But that was cool. I really enjoyed that. They had cool hats. I like how the hat was like also not just like a thing you just saw. Like it was kind of a plot point where like she wouldn't put the hat on until she felt part of the team.
Yeah.
Also great. And that
Yeah,
one
it
guy
had like the one guy that bullied her, like pretty much.
Oh, the sexist
the one guy
dude?
bullies her. The guy's such an ass. And she saves him and he's still an ass.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Yeah, I like that. Don't change for nothing. You save me. Good job, clown.
Yeah.
You just kept one more hater on this earth. Like, I love the consistency.
Well,
Yeah,
he
that was
blamed her for his brother's death, was it?
I think so. Yeah, in the opening,
Yeah.
like the 1999 sequence where they did not succeed in, which they kind of did. I mean, they made Godzilla go away. That's exactly what they did in the end of this one too.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
he really blamed her for that. And he tried to make everyone. I'm like, dude, there's bigger things to like going on right now. Literally bigger things going on.
Literally.
Right outside the window.
Yeah, like the fact that they have a whole division dedicated to taking down Godzilla, and there's only 4,000 people in it.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Like Amazon has like 4,000 employees like on this block. Like you should have way more people like outfit it. I texted Joe this when I was watching it, but it's just like imagine you're Godzilla. Like imagine you're just you and you find out 4,000 ants are like working round the clock to take you down. Like for 2 seconds, you're like, that sounds like a lot. And then you really think about it. And you're like, I've probably seen 4,000 ants before and not thought anything of it. Like, I probably stepped on half that, like just accidentally. So like, I'm wondering, like, are they counting like everybody in the force, or is this just like these are like the executive branch and they've got like a bunch of like soldiers and stuff like that they're not counting? I don't know. I just
would they count the army too?
Seems paltry.
Yeah, because I
Like
heard
the regular
that
army.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
To Khalid's point, though, if 4,000 ants like ganged up together, really strategized, and they left me with as much as a cut, like in that situation where he like, I would leave too. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well I gotta leave because that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
That's something this small.
I don't
actually
even live
injured me.
here.
Yeah,
This
like,
is whack.
I would just walk away too. Like this sucks.
Why'd you make me fight that giant clone of me? Oh, The taxes. That was the one part I wanted to make sure I brought up. When they're talking about building the Mechagodzilla, and like one of the big things people are mad about is like, this better not raise taxes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's so fucking real. all those welfare queens in the Godzilla destroying department just trying to live high on the hog. Like, sir, you understand what we're trying to do, right? Like, I don't know. Like, were you there for the presentation? I could go through it again. I have a PowerPoint. Like, I feel like you are really diminishing what we're doing here.
Yeah, and especially because they've had like it's not the first Godzilla attack. Like, it's like they've had it before historically. It's part of their culture. This has happened before. They're like, they can estimate how much, what went wrong, and everything like that. They're just like, you know what? It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. What? My guy, calm down. Like, calm down. Like, be thankful you have taxes to pay. Gods are fighting on your street.
That'd be so horrible. The size of it, of Godzilla, actually, that's actually one of the things I did have written down. The size confused me at one point because Godzilla was so massive, and then when the plane hit him in the mouth, I was like, the size felt different. Because when the plane came towards him,
like suddenly his head is the size of a plane.
Yes, and I was confused by that. I was like, wait, I thought he was way bigger than this before. And then that threw me off. I'm like, how big is that plane? Like, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's your mistake. You're not you're thinking about it like, oh, is Godzilla's head small? No, Japan just makes famously huge fighter jets. They're the average size of a Godzilla head.
Oh, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I think you're realizing though, like when we've gone through this, like the Godzilla movies, like the size of Godzilla is stated in the movie sometimes. Like they talk about how big it is, but in depiction wise, like just given like the suitmation of it all, it is often inconsistent with like what the surroundings are and then what they're supposed to be. And I think at this point, it's almost like the charm of it.
I choose to believe it's a Rashomon effect.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Where like every time we see Godzilla, it's from like another person's perspective. So we never get like a true sense of what Godzilla's size is. Just like, you know, if you're like the military guy in the command center, like you actually probably have like a little bit more perspective. But like if you're a person like way down on the street and you just see a fighter jet go into his mouth, like what does that look like?
Yeah.
That's a good call, because that would make more sense, because they've been consistent through Godzilla's now, like from the past to all the way to now, the size never really adding up. Like, I'm sure it's been referenced, but the walking in water part always confuses me about Godzilla. But like how far they're in the water, and like
he's Jesus.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm like, how are you walking? Are you interesting?
How deep is the water? Yeah,
yeah, and I've always been confused about it. And that's consistent in all the Godzilla movies throughout.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, you sent me that meme with the giant Godzilla legs, right?
Yeah, just like stretched all the way down, because I'm like, otherwise, I'm like, how does that work?
How is he walking in the ocean? Yeah. One last thing I wanted to touch on before we get in the monsters here is the sequel to this, which I don't know. You guys probably haven't seen Godzilla Tokyo SOS, Khalid? So it's as I mentioned, it's the only direct sequel in the Millennium era, and so this one is pretty cool. Actually, it's 1 year after this battle, and the Shobijin appear. So they're the two little fairies from Mothra, and they come out and they say that Godzilla's bones need to be returned to the ocean, and their use in the Mechagodzilla violates the natural order. And so ultimately, what ends up happening is it becomes like a Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Mothra like big battle. So it's just like, it's almost like what Godzilla versus Mothra did to the original. It's just like one ups it with the Mothra fantasy element, you know? So it's fun. So
that does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah. These ones kind of go like in tandem in a sense. So like a lot of people would do like a double feature with these two, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, shall we monster, gentlemen?
Hell
Let's
yeah.
monster.
Yeah. So Khalid, how nice was it for you to get our Thick King back?
I'm so glad you said it, dude. I just like I walked away from the American Godzilla like, where has my country gone? And I found it. It's Tokyo, and they kept that donk on. Godzilla's back. He's got that thing, and he's wiggling and waddling up and down the boulevard. I'm happy as a clam.
Yeah. Well, for this era, Khalid, you can thank Sotomo Kitagawa, who plays Godzilla throughout the Millennium era films. The design of the suit in this one was changed a bit from previous Millennium era films. The head was made smaller, and actually this one is more in line with the Heisei era Godzilla suit. They did give it like kind of like larger yellow eyes, though. This suit, though, which I think is noticeable in the film, is the most expressive of the Godzilla suits up until this point, and has animatronics in the head, which allow for like more facial expressions, and more notably, like the ability to like widen or narrow the eyes. So you can actually give Godzilla like expressions, like almost like surprise or like shock or anger. So like you could kind of feel some of those emotions in Godzilla. And I thought that was a really fun element. I thought that it's true. The suit did feel really expressive in that way.
The suitmation in this is easily the best I've seen in the entire series. Like so many just, again, like the thing is, like, I wish I could complain about like the third act just being a giant fight sequence, but like it looks like a really well choreographed and shot fight sequence. You know what I mean? Like I can't, it's hard to complain when they did the thing they intended to do so well.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like the suit's really good. The one thing that's interesting to see is like this is the era where they start playing around with CGI more. So that's very evident in it. Like some of the fast movements are using CGI and some other parts are, but I didn't think it was too distracting overall.
It just gave it an anime flair for me.
Yeah. Like the build up for the freeze ray and everything.
Yeah. So a lot of
I love the shoulder check. Like super speeds in and shit.
That's exactly what I was just thinking of with the
yeah, I was just like, okay, but like the actual like physics of that and the damage that you would do just working that much speed up on a street that you're supposedly saving. I far be it from me to take away a super speed shoulder check, but I just feel like if you're trying to mitigate damage, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, they were not trying. Obviously Godzilla wasn't trying, but yeah, no, that was hilarious to watch it. I was like, this felt like it felt like I was watching a DC Comics like superhero movie where I'm like, you do not care about the city whatsoever. You're trying to destroy everything.
Yes.
Yeah. You're this is wish fulfillment after a certain I do love that they really do a good job of like that, you know, that thing of like when it's like it takes all of this technology, it takes all of this like resources just to like amount to like this thing that like a creature can do just naturally without thinking. You know what I mean? Like I love when a movie or a show like does that juxtaposition. I'm thinking of like Invincible, if you guys have seen it. When in the first season like finale or whatever, when like the US military is like trying to take Omni-Man down, and it's just like, yeah, like it's like how many resources it takes, and like it's obviously the other Godzillas do that with like throwing all the military might at it, but like it's really cool to see like such a 1-to-1 comparison of like technically they're both Godzillas, but like one of them takes so much effort to just do the thing that Godzilla does naturally.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And with that, I'll talk a little bit about Mechagodzilla in this. So like the suit Mechagodzilla was played by the actor Hirofumi Ishigaki. Then this version, so I mentioned earlier on that this version of Mechagodzilla is different from previous versions. So this one is mostly referred in the movie as Kiryu, which is a word that's derived from another Japanese word meaning machine dragon, which is kind of cool. This was to differentiate the character from the previous iteration. So the first time we ever see Mechagodzilla in the franchise is 1974 in the film Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which I think you accidentally started, Khalid, when you were watching, right?
I didn't actually.
Oh, you were teasing? I thought you actually did.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, because I got a text from you. You're like, why are we going back to the 70s? And I was like, no, you're in the wrong thing. I was all stressed.
I checked like 3 or 4 times. Like, okay, this is the one you're supposed to be watching. This is the one you're supposed to be watching. I kept on checking. It said 2002. keep
That's why I
checking.
made sure to give you the dates.
Yeah, that was really helpful because I was like, no,
Yeah.
this is the one you should be watching.
So in that 74 one, Mechagodzilla is depicted as a alien villain, a robot created by alien invaders to confront and destroy Godzilla. And then the later version in Heisei era, it's a man-made robotic weapon. But this is I think the first time it's kind of more of like a mech suit kind of thing. So this version, as we talked about before, is built around the skeleton of the original 1954 Godzilla and a DNA computing-based operating system, which they talked a little bit about in the beginning with that trilobite thing. So this Godzilla, they mentioned in the movie, 60 meters / 200 feet tall, 40,000 metric tons, piloted remotely until it's not, and its most powerful weapon, as you guys pointed out, is the Absolute Zero cannon housed in its chest, which fires a beam capable of freezing enemies. That was cool, and the effects of like frozen buildings was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool weapon that they like, because they could have just went simple and just like it shoots out a laser beam, and we would have been like, oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
laser beam to hit Godzilla, which maybe probably would have done like a easier, quicker damage, but like a freeze ray, I was like, that's pretty cool, and especially how they used it, I thought was interesting too.
Right. And I think like to Khalid's point, like I think that's an interesting part about especially the Japanese movies, and probably it's by virtue of just so many movies, they have to think of different things, but there's always like a creative solution to like, how are we going to deal with this? Like we got like a thing that's virtually unkillable. How are we going to handle that? And they have to like keep inventing some crazy new thing to do. And like the idea of freezing Godzilla has been done before. We talked about it in the Destroyer episode because they had to keep its temperature down, but like that idea is kind of an interesting one too, like completely freeze them and then like bash it apart basically would be one thing that they could possibly do. So I don't know, it's a cool idea.
Again, like that's fair, you know what I mean? Like at this point in the Godzilla like saga, like there's no bad ideas, you know what I mean? It's just, you gotta do whatever is possible and might slow him down for like 2 seconds, because like there's no rhyme or reason to like what hurts Godzilla or what keeps him down as far as I understand it. So it's like, yeah, maybe we just haven't been making him cold enough.
We haven't been making him cold enough. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, has anyone tried that yet? Like that would just be like smoking like cigarette after cigarette in a room with like a bunch of like theories on a corkboard, just like I don't know, like did we try throwing garbage at him yet? Like does he like garbage?
Yeah, and like and also preparing for other kaijus because they've dealt with that like Mothra in this like film, right, series. They dealt with Mothra in the past, they dealt with the Godzilla, and they dealt with the giant Bigfoot thing. A freeze ray solves all problems against all three of those things. So I like that idea.
Great point. Yeah.
Have the people that get constantly terrorized by kaiju just thought about like just giving them the surface and moving below ground? Because that would be a serious, I don't know, like 50 years later, that's a serious conversation I'd be willing to have.
Yeah, and how many decades between, like, did they mention how, I don't know if they did, but like how many times these multiple monster attacks happened? Because I can't remember the timeline if they mentioned that, but I was like, that's too many.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the Godzilla attack is actually the year the movie came out, 1954. Yeah. They say that. So I got to believe that's true of the other ones. So like the Mothra movie was 61. Okay, and I don't know about I don't know about the Jolly Green Giant guy. I don't know what that's from, but I think it looks 60s too.
And I feel like they mentioned the rest of the world, but like, did they mention this happening in the rest of the world, or are they just like pretty much Marvel City, like Marvel Comics New York, where it's like you are the place?
It's Marvel Comics New York. Like they make a mention of like it takes like the amount of times they've had to rebuild, and I'm just like, what? Go underground, like, take a hint, you know?
Yeah, or just like I would be joining the monsters after a while. Like, you know what? Maybe we should just help them destroy the city. Like, I don't know what the city did, but we're gonna keep helping them.
Just walk into a kaiju recruiting office, like, what do they need? Can I like buff a toe or something?
Yeah, because it's a lot. That'd be a lot of times to get like attacked like that. generationally.
Mhm.
Yeah, the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna keep building up buildings for them to like shoulder check each other into? Bugging.
So, any final thoughts about this movie, you guys?
I would take a straight remake of this movie, and I agree with what Khalid said about it being like Top Gun, because I think that was like if they just did like a scene for scene remake, like I think this would have been a fun concept to go with. Probably even more like, but scene for scene remake out of Japan, not Americanized, because I don't know what they would do with America. They would just ruin it in some way. But I feel like there's like a scene for scene Japanese remake out of this one, and I know there's obviously other Godzilla lore to take from, but I just thought this one had a lot of elements that I'm like, oh, this would land at any time. Like it's just a fun story that you could do this now. You could do this like 40 years from now. I just feel like what they had in there was enough fun to land whenever.
Yeah, like seeing this with like the Godzilla -1 kind of like effects team or something playing around with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Like this should be the next Godzilla movie. I think with Mechagodzilla like that, I think it'd be fun.
And on that note, I would also like to see a movie that's like a little bit more of like a character piece about just like a really like successful like construction company owner in between kaiju attacks. Like we don't actually see one kaiju attack or the other, but it's like the 5 to 10 years in between where it's just like he is working like round the clock and like he's making good money, but he's just not there for his family like he should be.
I would like to see that too.
Like a slice of life kaiju movie, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like again, like you forget it's about kaiju after a while, and it's just like this guy that's just like, yeah, he's a kind of a workaholic, but he kind of has to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, like Tokyo is not gonna build itself, buddy.
To add to that, I would like to see like an Office like TV show style of like the same thing. I think
The workplace
All
comedy.
right,
Yeah,
all right.
I like that.
Yeah, workplace comedy set in Japan.
Workplace comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cleanup crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, but like I would love to see like a between attacks movie where it's just like, what do the people do between? Like, there's definitely gonna be like a betting app about like when the next attack is coming. You know what I mean? So it's like part of you is just like, oh god, like I know it's like mass devastation and like I'm almost guaranteed to die if not have someone I know die in it. But also, if I put a parlay on Tuesday, bro, like that's rent for life.
And they'd be selling like flakes of Godzilla's like scales too. Like that would just be like hot merch and everything like that. And like I could see the like part of Godzilla falls off, and like someone takes that and they're like making food out of it. Like this will help you cure this if you do this. Like I feel like there's a lot of angles from this. So yeah, I'm agree with Blade there.
I actually truly think like that's some of the more interesting stuff that we've seen out of some of the movies that we watched. Was it Biollante where they were like trying to make something out of the Godzilla cells that fell off or something, like some sort of the bio weapon. Yeah. Like that stuff. Like when you talk about like an underground market that's like sprung up from these attacks, or like the industry that springs up from stuff like this, like that's like a really fascinating world extension, like world building stuff. Like I like to see that. I'm with you. Like I know you were doing a bit, Khalid, but I would actually I'd watch it.
I was not doing a bit. I want to see the funeral parlor that like is really conflicted about this. You know, like I want to see what capitalism does to a Godzilla ravaged town
too.
Sorry, Khalid. You famously never do bits.
I never do bits. Joel, you're laughing a little too hard at that very passionate and sincere statement.
Yeah, I'm almost serious about this. Like, I feel like the insurance company. I feel like everything about it would be like really popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. And that being said, we'll probably take a turn here to our final segment of the series that has, or the episode that has nothing to do with Godzilla. Our what the fandom segment. We forgot to do it last time, Khalid.
Did we forget to do it, or were we just interviewing a guy and just ended an interview?
Yeah,
because like we had like the episode part, but then like where we would usually talk about the movie with a guest and then do What the Fandom. We kind of just broke it up into two
It's
things.
okay. It just gives us more time to fandom it out with like a month or whatever. I don't know how long it's been. Joel, we'll let you go last. We always let our guests go last, but What the Fandom is where we just plug or share something that we're into. May or may not have anything to do with Godzilla or monsters, even at all. Khalid, What the Fandom with you this week?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week, with the new job and stuff like that, I'm commuting again, so I'm bumping the old pods again. I've been really into this podcast. I don't know that it even really needs the plug. I'm sure it's a super successful one. It's called The Majority Report with Sam Cedar. I don't know if either of you have heard about it, but it's cool. I like it just because I do just feel like a lot of like mainstream news right now like feels a little more tabloidish than like is my taste, and so I don't like just like feeling like I'm just like listening about a trend when there's like actual stuff going on that I would love to get like what feels like clear reporting on, specifically like things like going on in Gaza. Right now I do feel like a lot of our news sources just aren't being as transparent about this thing that it has a lot of sources that it could cite. So the Majority Report with Sam Cedar and his co-host Emma Vigeland, they do a really good job. They have guests on all the time. I listen to the free portion of the podcast. That's what's like available on all the streamers and stuff. They have a pay version or like a longer version beyond a paywall, and it's daily, so you definitely get your money's worth if you're interested in it. I can't speak to the pay version of it, but the free version is really good. It's about an hour and a half every day, and they do a really good job just like touching on topics and then like circling back to like what they have to do with like the overarching issues of today. They did a really good job breaking down the DNC because I was not going to watch that bullshit. But is it's a good listen if you're just looking for some more reporting on the news. What about you, Joe?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I want to use my fandom to kind of let fans of the podcast know that this fandom I'm going to talk about is something that we are going to absolutely return to. We are in the midst of the Godzilla series, and we're going to finish that out and see it to its end. However, just this month came out Alien Romulus, and I got a chance to go see it with some friends. Friends of the podcast who've been on the podcast as well, like Jimmy, Grant, Mince, some of those guys, Bear, who's a patron member. So like a lot of people who are fans of the podcast, they would love to hear our takes on it, and we will get to it. And we're gonna do a Xenomania follow up and talk about that for sure. But that being said, it's gonna just be a little bit later after the Godzilla series ends. I will plug it. It was really fun. It's not without its flaws, but I think that it was a really worthy comeback for the franchise, and it just really reinvigorated my excitement for Alien movies. Fede Alvarez directed the crap out of that movie. Really like brutal at times, really cool sequences, like cool like additions to the lore, interesting callbacks. I'm just really excited about it. So go see Alien Romulus. I hope we see more from that franchise and see some more alien mythology fleshed out in the future. So I like that, and we will cover it on the podcast for sure. So how about you, Joel? What the fandom with you this week?
I have one thing I'm going to ask as a plea for you guys, because there is 2 giant spider movies that came out this year, and if you guys ever cover them, I will stop being friends with you guys if I'm not the guest for one of them at least.
Wow. Okay.
Because I love giant spider movies, and yes, 2 came out this year. So Sting and Infested, which is a French one. They were both fantastic spider movies, and they were very similar in concept too. Actually, both similar concept of a spider escaping, and then it just kind of goes from there. And they're both fantastically done. One is an Australian company that did an American movie, and it has a little bit more of a comedic humor to it. And then Infested is a French one, and it's dark as hell, and it's really, it was really well done. But I do have one thing to. The one main thing that I'm a big fan of, that first off, I have to say a huge thank you to Joe. I am watching a show called From.
Yes,
I'm
I was plugging that.
obsessed with the show. I'm obsessed with it. Like it is. We're into the second season now, and I mean, my Jenny and I, my wife we didn't have the kids for one day this weekend, and we went out. We haven't gone out together in like a year, I think it is. It's a wedding like without kids, so it was a really big deal, and we enjoyed that. And we went out for lunch, came home, watched some From, then went out again, and then came home and watched some more From. And we've been going to bed late watching From to get as much of it as possible. I love that show so much. I haven't been this excited about a TV show in a while, so I really appreciate you telling me to watch it. Other people have told me to watch it, but I was waiting until a very trusted source. So, Joe, thank you so much, and I'm very, very much enjoying it. I think I might be Boyd for Halloween.
Ooh,
so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can pull that off for sure.
Is that Harold Perrineau's character?
What's it? I only know him as Link from The Matrix.
Oh, Harold Perrineau.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all. I think it's Harold Perrineau.
I think so.
And he's also in Lost.
Yeah, it is.
He's such a cool character too. Like in that, I had thought that for some reason in my head twisted. I thought you recommended it to me a long time ago.
I have been suggested that show, like, and I've seen, like, it's been like the articles I've seen written about it. It's like From is the horror show that you should be watching. I was like, I will get to it, and then like you're like, you gotta get to From, and I was like, okay, I'll actually start it, and then I started it, and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't start it sooner. It's so good.
Right, it really starts with a bang. Like I watched it. It was like a week ago. Nicole was out of town for like a week, and so I just kind of threw it on one evening, and I was like, oh my god, I got to watch like 3 episodes right now. Stayed up too late, but I still gotta. I'm not. You're further than me now, and so like I haven't watched as much lately because I've been busy with work starting up again and everything. But I am excited to dig back into that one. It's creepy.
Yeah, we're in the second season, and I just it's absolutely fantastic.
I believe season 3 is coming out soon too.
Yeah.
Good
shout
recommendations.
Sean Majumder, the Canadian in it too. So
yes,
shout out to Sean Majumder, who's hilarious. I grew up with him. I'm not sure if you guys remember the Cedric the Entertainer show back in the day, like early 2000s. He was in that too. Like he's been like a Canadian comedy. Do you remember that show, Khalid, by any chance? Yeah.
I remember the Steve Harvey show.
No, Cedric the Entertainer had his own like variety show. Like it was like a skit show. I think it only had like a season. Like it was piggybacking off the Steve Harvey show. So around that era.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and it didn't last long, but Sean Majumder was in that, but he was also famous for being in This Hour is 22 Minutes, which is a Canadian like skit show. So yeah, anyways, From. Fantastic.
And he's not funny in From. He's more serious.
He's not. Yeah. So it's weird to see him playing a serious role. But really like it.
Great recommendations all around, everybody. I'm excited about that. To close out today, I just wanted to real quick give a housekeeping plug to our Patreon. I've mentioned it before, but our podcast is something that we just do for fun. We don't have ads or anything, and we want to keep doing that. Patreon is where you can kind of show your support for the show, help us update equipment, have access to the best recording and editing programs. I think Khalid and Joel can both say that I am fuzzy because I don't have a very good webcam. Something that might want to maybe use Patreon money for getting that updated, and maybe we could do some video stuff for you guys someday in the future. I don't know. But being a patron gives you access to Frankenbits, which are new episodes. We talk about other topics beyond monsters. We haven't updated that for a little bit, but we got some plans in the works for some new Frankenbits coming up here in the future. There are different tiers. You could join for $1, $3, or $7. And with that, also make sure to check us out on our socials, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Franken Podcast. So that being said, and that out of the way, Joel, I just wanted to thank you again for just being willing to hop on and chat with us. It is always a delight to get you on, and I always say it, but we need to do it more regularly. So you'll be on soon again, for sure.
Thank you so much, guys. It's always a pleasure. No matter what's going on, I'm always happy to be on the show. Any movie that you guys select, I would love to be on the show. So thank you so much for always thinking of me. I really appreciate it. And you guys are my favorite. Aww. So thank you so much.
You're the man, Joel. That's so sweet. Yeah, everything Joe said times 10. I just mean it more.
We got to one up me. Got to 10 up me, I guess.
Take that how you will, Joel. I like you more. I don't know what to say. But no, seriously, this is such a great time. This is a great discussion. Loving how the series has gone. I'm really glad we were able to bring you in to be a part of that. And thank you all at home for listening, or in your car, or wherever you're listening from. It really does mean a lot. Check out the Patreon. We'd love to give you more content. You know, we know you're hungry for content. We got it. We got the tent. You know, that's what the cool
The
kids
tent?
calling it. The tent.
Oh.
Anyways, with that weird segue or aside, until next time, creep it easy.